Hello, hey, my name is Mike Harding with HPE, and what we want to do is just share just some info that actually was part of a recent webinar, but it was so good we wanted to get it out again. It's really about addressing your key workload challenges with our newest HPE Alletra storage MPB 10,000. So first off, let's talk about workloads. Our typical enterprise customers are running a number of different applications on a single storage array or across a pool of similar storage arrays. And not surprisingly, different applications have different requirements. And what we really do is have products that are able to step up and address all these key needs, whether it's in the area of data protection, high availability, hybrid cloud or multi-cloud access for those applications, be able to have cost-effective data platform, and so you can meet your budget needs, high performance, low latency, simplicity of administration, etc. So these are some key design goals we keep in mind as we're rolling out our products. And in order to address all that, we have our new architecture that really comprises HPE Alletra Storage MP product line. It's disaggregated, and it delivers benefits in a number of different areas, whether it's performance, AI-enabled predictive maintenance, active-active replication, built-in compression, dedupe, immutable copies, and I'll tell you why that's important. Embedded cyber recovery, which is part of that, energy efficiency, etc. It really is a really world-leading design that, and we're really centering our efforts on the MP platform as a means to really deliver on all these different workload requirements and different customer requirements around the world. What's new, the latest version, you may ask? Let me tell you. A few different things. So the big news items really have to do with unified file and block. So up to this point, it really has been a block only device, and we're just now with the latest update incorporating some ability to now handle file data, but I'll spend a little time talking about this just to really scope really the initial use cases that we're expecting customers to address with it. Another aspect is around the ability now to address public cloud. We have a software-defined version of our storage array, which can actually be loaded into Azure. We did something similar not too long ago for AWS, and now we have block storage for Azure. That's actually part of this release as well. And finally, certainly last but not least, the native ransomware detection and recovery. Very important capability. Ransomware is a big deal across the industry, and now we have a really in-box capability to address that. So let's talk about that. So the ability to, really our native ransomware detection and recovery. As I said, it's a big thing, big deal. A lot of customers have been asking for this. So we've rolled it out as part of the storage array itself. It's native ransomware detection, and it really comprises the ability to create immutable snapshots. So these really are snapshots that are read-only copies of the data that cannot be altered even by these malicious actors. So therefore, being able to recover from a ransomware attack is potentially as simple as just restoring a backup. That's the promise. But along with that, we also have a capability of real-time anomaly detection. So in essence, the box is always looking on an ongoing basis for just odd behavior that could be a some sort of cyber attack, and that then if found, it'll alert the admin. But together, that way, it's allowing you to keep track of potential threats and then to be able to deal with them and mitigate them when they do occur. So that's important. That's part of the box. And also, I do call out here the idea that we also have like a layered detection with Zerto. We actually have had, just in parallel, Zerto software-based ability in order to address ransomware, and so that's something that can be worked together along with the array or separately if you really need a software layer approach to ransomware mitigation. And here, actually, I really want to talk about, I'm not sure the slide really does justice, but the whole topic of the unified file and block capability. It's a big feature. A lot of customers have been asking about this, but this is our initial take on it. And so I just want to be very clear that what we're talking about is that it's still, the B10000 is still primarily a block storage device. Okay, but there is now the ability to handle some file data along with it. So it would therefore mean that you don't have to have an entire separate file storage device. And here's a great use case, SAP HANA. So we know we have customers that are using our storage for SAP HANA. The majority of the data is stored in block, but in addition, there'll be logs that would be using a file protocol. Those logs can now actually be stored along with it in this one device. I know like in EHR world, we have similar applications as well. I'm sure there are a number of other ones. So that really is the use case. So limited file along with the block, you can now do it in this one unified device. And here, so let's start talking about the workloads. As I said, well, our customers are running lots of different workloads on our products, and we designed the MP B10000 to be able to be a platform for all sorts of different applications, whether it's in the area of databases, healthcare, analytics, different hypervisors, including now our own VM Essentials, and data protection from a number of different partners. So all of that can be run on the same storage array. That's the whole idea, in order to make things very cost-effective for you, as well as simple from an administration perspective. And also, it's kind of, before I forget to call this out, in terms of hypervisors, traditionally our bread and butter really has been about VMware. We have a lot of customers now who are looking for alternatives, and so we did just announce and roll out our alternative, which is the HPE. I think actually the correct term is HPE Morpheus VM Essentials. So that's an alternate hypervisor that you can use in order to have a virtualized environment, but to get out from under the cost of VMware licensing. Okay, and then in addition, I think this is really there just to kind of talk up the fact that it's more than just a box. Lots of different capabilities, as I mentioned, on the device, as well as services and value that we add around it, whether it's in at the management layer, things like Morpheus or Ops Ramp, often being used to manage the devices. And InfoSight, a capability that's always running in order to provide predictive maintenance and notifications of problems with the systems, and then GreenLake. So and particularly GreenLake Flex. These are offerings that we build around our different solutions. So it just makes it easier to quote and to purchase a solution from us, and you can get it all as a service, metered based on your usage and pay per month, very similar to what you would otherwise with a hyperscaler cloud approach. Okay, let's start with databases. Very, very important workloads for us. We put a lot of time and effort into them, and there are definitely some important, key requirements across these. And this is regardless of which database it is. Lots of data growing out there. IDC puts it at something like they expect 1 billion apps to be deployed between now and 2028. So 2x today's level, driving 3x the data. So lots of data growth. Not telling anything new, but really the area of database is really kind of at the center of that data growth. And not surprisingly, also continued need for more performance. So we've been addressing that over the years, Flash and NVMe and all NVMe, but it continues to grow now, particularly with AI-related apps and requirements for GPU acceleration. So that's something new we have to also address. And then finally, the idea of hybrid cloud and multi-cloud interop is a key requirement for these database environments. And once again, leaning on some IDC data, they're saying that about half of AI, or actually specifically Gen AI workload placement is on-prem, another 20% at the edge, and the remaining 30% is in the cloud. So it really speaks to the need from the IT perspective to be able to manage all those different areas, hopefully in a uniform way through a single pane of glass, ideally. So there are some stats just about some of the applications that we work with in terms of the databases. We focus on the top 3. Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, SAP HANA. So I'll really just drill into those specifically. Of those, just some related stats here. SAP, a lot of our customers want to be able to keep their SAP on-prem, so we're kind of building to support that requirement. We have a lot of our arrays, actually, the top, typically, other than, once you get beyond VMware, really our top workloads that we see deployed on our storage arrays are like SQL Server is number one, and then, quickly followed by Oracle and SAP. So these are really the top workloads that we see across our installed base. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, we want to be able to enable the benefits of the cloud to these customers, and that's why we're putting a lot of energy around GreenLake Flex solutions. So I think with Oracle, I guess we'll start here. Oracle, it's traditionally been really a leading database, across a number of industries, across all of our customer base. It comes with complexity that needs to be addressed. Our MP B10000 really meets that in terms of delivering simplicity, relative simplicity in how it is managed, unifying the operations, streamlining workload, admin, and just in general, just reducing the complexity of managing database, particularly Oracle database workloads. It also helps address the rising cost of Oracle environments just by delivering efficiency in how it's managed and how the data is able to be compressed and deduped, and therefore just reducing the need to over provision to meet those database requirements. Performance also we deliver there, where if customers are running rack, they need ultra low latency, high throughput, and the MPB B10000 is great for that. Excuse me. And then specifically in this world, the whole idea of OCI lock-in, as it's a term. So the idea of being able to give Oracle customers an alternative to go into the cloud. They can run their databases, pretty efficiently and effectively on-prem on our MPB 10000. And here, a little more information about that. I really don't want to feed the hype. I mean, the reality is, pretty much all the customers I talk to are, even the ones who consider themselves to be cloud first, they're still running applications on-prem, or they're actually splitting environments up, particularly in the area of database, where they need to do some parts of the analytics on-prem, some of it up in the cloud. So we meet that need. I mean, we're meeting customers where they are, whether they're still keeping certain workloads on-prem or they're moving to the cloud, and once again, being able to meet the needs of these complex enterprise environments. Where workloads are, here, there, and then maybe perhaps even moving and just making it very, fluid and efficient for our IT customers to be able to address it all. A little more about Oracle here, just some stats, benefits we're delivering, 98% higher IOPS for Oracle, higher transfer rates, data efficiency 4-to-1, and you'll see that reduction across other databases as well, but lots of specific benefits coming from the B10000 for your Oracle environments. And then finally here, I think the message, there's a lot going on in the slide, but I think really the message here is about just the breadth of solutions that we have and capabilities in order to address these very important database environments. So the big thing here is, if you probably look at the bottom, just all the different solutions and products, and especially services that HPE has. So we really can really address the full lifecycle challenge of your Oracle environment. And this is actually one of those tools. It's kind of neat. It's DPP, so it's a database performance profiler. This has been out there for a while, so if you're an established enterprise customer running databases with HPE, you actually may be familiar with this. And it's a little product. We actually provide it for free, even though it usually goes along with a services engagement. But it's really will sit in the environment, gather information about how the database is operating. And the whole idea is to then gather analyze and present information to show you how you can optimize your hardware in order to reduce the cost of the database environment. This works for Oracle, also for SQL Server and SAP. And as I said, kind of a powerful thing. It's been around for a while, and a number of our customers have benefited from it. Okay, let's shift gears to SQL Server. As I think I said at the top here, that SQL Server actually is our number one installed database. Oracle's important. I kind of gave them the first billing, but SQL Server is a little more near and dear to my heart. And as you can see in the stat from, even though it's not a competition, but as you can see in the data here from IDC, and of course they're crunching licensing numbers from both cloud and on-prem. You can see that Microsoft is number one in the database area. But really the takeaway here is that it's still important. And I think a lot of times people think of SQL Server as just, it's old, established, very traditional, whatever. And it is all that, but it also still continues to grow. We see, customers just running really mission critical SQL Server environments. So the importance is still there. The data growth is there. The performance requirements are there. So as I said, it's our number one workload after VMware across our storage arrays. And the big news in the SQL Server world is that there's a new version out, SQL Server 2025. It's currently in public preview, so anyone listening to this can actually go out there and download it. We've been engaged with Microsoft on working on this co-development for a while now, going back a year anyway. And so maybe you've actually seen us called out at Microsoft Build or other events where they really kind of single out HPE as being kind of an important partner in the work so far. So that's been kind of cool to see. But just to highlight what's important with SQL Server 2025, besides being the latest version, lots of AI capabilities kind of built in, right? Copilot, SQL Server, and actually SSMS, so Management Studio, vector data types, indexes. So we have some work going on right now doing vector database stuff in SQL Server. You can manage external AI models. It ties in with Fabric. And the other thing on the analytics world, they've actually done things with being able to support more data types, So whereas in the past, a lot of stuff would have to be done with Polybase. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Parquet, Delta, and CSV formats actually could be worked with natively through SQL Server. So you don't have to do a whole kind of ETL or Polybase means to work with that. Lots of other cool new things about SQL Server 2025, but it's out there now. You can download it and take a look yourself. And how it is that we address your needs. Very similar to Oracle. We've stepped up to address requirements around availability. You still get the 100% uptime guarantee with the B10000. Very important for the database as well as any application. Delivering performance with Flash and NVMe and all NVMe devices, and more efficiency. There's a 4-to-1 savings guaranteed, which is similar, comparable to Oracle. And then also we have a breadth of SQL Server solutions, and I've been involved with these directly myself, so I can actually kind of tick through the list. So everything from like the largest, most mission critical SQL Server environment, and I know I got these listed as 2022. I guess that technically is the current version, but we'll be revving these all for 2025. But mission critical SQL Server with like really the largest of enterprises and government organizations, running on our B10000s, typically along with the compute server 3200. So really the highest. Really the largest, and actually I'll share a little bit about that, but really large compute server. Then beneath that, SQL Server on PCBE, SQL Server on SimpliVity, so you get the benefit of the HCI simplicity, I guess, in terms of the hyperconverged platform. SQL Server on MSA, we've been doing this as a great entry-level or departmental database platform. GreenLake for databases, so really kind of a package we put together with services around your SQL Server or other databases. And then I pointed this out earlier on, really the idea of SQL Server on VME. So HPE Morpheus VM Essentials. We've done some of our own kind of qualification, if you will, to make sure that SQL Server runs well on VME. We published some of those demos out there on the web, so you can go out there and find them. And you can always follow up with questions. And we'll continue to do more work with SQL Server on VME as well, just because I think there's great benefits on using that as an alternate hypervisor environment versus VMware. And mission critical, yes, share a little more about that, because I did talk about the fact that we really serve mission critical environments, really the largest of banks and government agencies. And this is the way, so in the past, when we've talked about mission critical, you may have heard us talk about the Superdome Flex with the Alletra 9000. Still a great combination. They're both still available to buy, but we're revving that in the process, and I'm getting some stuff published and out on this. So really the latest, greatest combination really would be the HPE Compute Scale-Up Server 3200, along with the HPE Alletra Storage MPB 10000. So you have our newest and greatest server and storage combination there. And the MPB 10000, I already talked a bit about that, but with the compute side, share a couple stats. I mean, if you're not familiar with it, 4 to 16 sockets in a single system, so it supports up to 960 cores in that one device, and a maximum of 32 terabytes of shared memory. So we've been doing, and this actually has been the platform we've been using in that early work with Microsoft, and doing benchmark performance testing there, which I think some of that we're publishing as well. But at its core, it's really really key to the solution that we're delivering for mission critical SQL Server on the SQL Server 2025. And then that the team that we kind of work with, the mission critical team on the compute side, those guys have been delivering world-class benchmarks now for some time. So you can just be assured that the level of performance that's coming with this is absolutely world-class, world-leading. So not only high performance, but also high or very cost-effective performance as well. So just it's a great combination. 300 with the MPB 10000. And then speaking of the MPB 10000, we actually are doing some great things in terms of just metrics and quantified performance benefits as well. You can see this chart, and I can kind of walk you through it a little bit. It's really just showing the improvement in performance. So it's specifically the reduction in SQL Server query times, from previous generation to the current generation, the MPB 10000, and it's really kind of cut it in half, more or less. And the other thing that this table is showing is really that benefit scales pretty cleanly, even as you increase the number of volumes. In this case, going from 1 to 2 or 4, further up, you still get those same benefits. So delivering more performance than we have in the past with the MPB 10000, and in addition, delivering more data efficiency. So we're finding this, and this is specific to tests with SQL Server that we're doing. So it's just our team doing these solution tests, seeing that it is the most data efficient platform when we're looking at SQL Server. So about roughly, once again, about half or twice, I guess, as efficient MPB 10000 versus previous generation, and there's some specific data about that as well. So, and I believe we haven't, we actually published some on this, but we'll continue to do that, I think, as we roll out some more stuff around the latest version. And then last but not least, and I probably did give this kind of short thrift, but it's our, SAP HANA. So very important application, and we usually do kind of lump it in with when we talk about mission critical databases. But here, really, the takeaway is, first of all, just to let you know, we're doing a lot around SAP HANA. It's still a big part of our business. We're still working with very large customers, so very important workload. There is a breadth of tested solution stacks, those TDIs that we do with SAP. So we continue to do that. We're continue to invest in that. And that there's this ramp up of what you can get in terms of the scalability and performance for your SAP environment. So kind of all I had to share, but there's a lot more out there. So really don't be afraid to reach out and ask. And so from databases, I just want to shift gears and talk about analytics, because this is always a hot area, and especially now, I believe, just in the age of AI, a lot more going on with analytics. And we've done specific work now with SAS. So it's been a great partner. Surprisingly, kind of shocking to me, just it's been, as you can see, well over 30 years. So really a partnership that is about the same, if not longer, than our partnership with Microsoft. It's kind of interesting to see there. But kind of a quiet company, but they've been delivering a lot of great software and benefits across a number of industries, as you can see here. It's a long relationship. 40% of SAS customers apparently use HPE infrastructure, which is also kind of surprising to know. And we also are delivering industry-leading benchmarks with this application on our infrastructure. Little about here about the customer challenge, having to modernize their SAS environments. So we're working with customers that are still running 9X and working with them to upgrade to SaaS Bio, which is like the latest version, kind of like going from their old SAP to SAP HANA. Very similar evolution going on there. We've worked with them and co-engineered really the industry first architecture with SAS and Red Hat in order to enable that. But as you can see, lots of benefits and goodness in this move that we're enabling for customers, and we do that every day. A little more here about just SAS. I think the point here is really just to kind of underline just the benefits we've been delivering around the traditional version. 150% better performance on now the MPB 10,000 versus earlier version of our storage. And then in addition, as customers move to the new version, SaaS Via, we're also delivering great benefits there as well. And that's a developing story. So new environments. So we're working with the rolling out the T-shirt sizes, bombs, white papers, and getting more information out. So kind of a I guess in progress, but you can see lower TCO versus the cloud and other benefits we've been able to already document. And then just in terms of just kind of a brag slide here about a little bit of a summary, I think. Benefits we're bringing to these important workloads, whether it's reducing footprint, allowing the reduction in operations cost, ransomware protection, as I talked about, been delivering that in a couple of different ways, whether it's software or hardware based or a combination of both, as well as delivering more performance and scalability for customers to be able to better innovate in their businesses. So important area for us, and we continue to deliver good numbers in that area. A few wins just want to share, and these actually are just examples really kind of across the board. I think I just picked a few current ones where you can just see where we're working, in this case with the European Financial Services Company, Oracle database, had to replace some aging infrastructure, and we're able to replace it with MPB 10,000s in order to get some benefits there. European Paper Mill Company, once again, updating their environments. In this case, it was virtualized SQL Server and Oracle, and got them into an infrastructure that's going to last hopefully for the next decade. MPB 10,000s, store once, HPE ProLiant Compute, and then US-based community college. Once again, refresh of what they had there. SQL Server, Oracle, VDI, a lot of VDI in that educational area, and able to meet their needs with, in this case, the PCBE, so Private Cloud Business Edition, which is using MPB 10,000. And then just one more win, because I like this one, because it actually includes a few different databases. So this one customer is in Europe, but they're running both Oracle and SQL Server and SAP. They were able to meet the needs of those 3 different database environments, all on the B10000. I just want to call out resources that we have. These are a number just specific to, we're talking about SAS Maya. And I think on this video, you probably can't point and click, but you certainly can do Google searches to find all this, or go to our website and take a look. And then similarly, lots of different resources that we have, and these might be a little easier to look up and find. But across all these different enterprise workloads that we're supporting on the MPB 10000. And with that, I just want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions, you actually can email me directly. I'd be happy to respond to anything that got you thinking about today. All right, have a good day. Bye.